I'm here alongside fighting this next weekend, February 19th, Supreme Championships, making his MMA debut, Dan Stockley, a guy who, by my calculation, was once 17 and a half stone. I'm going to get this completely wrong being an American. In the region of 111 kilograms, yet this fight is at 84 in the middleweight division. Uh, Dan, that sounds like an interesting journey, not only coming from bodybuilding to MMA, but dropping all that weight.
Yeah, it was a massive drop in weight. First time I ever laid on the mat, it was a tough one because all I had behind me was strength and no knowledge in jiu-jitsu or anything like that. So it was all strength and no gear really.
Take me back to that first roll, because you were mentioning before we jumped on this interview that your first time doing BJJ, I actually wrote this down. You felt like a whale out of the water. That must have changed by now, though.
Yeah, because all I had was body mass, and when it come to the sort of movement that everyone else was doing, everyone was more agile than I was. I thought, well, I've got to forget about one of them, so I just left the bodybuilding behind and just focused on
Do you
the
still lift
jiu-jitsu.
weights?
Only in the conditioning
How does that
sessions,
differ?
but
Because
it's
I've seen a
never.
lot of strongmen come into MMA. Probably the most notable that I've covered quite a bit would be Mariusz Pudzianowski in KSW, who's dropped an insane amount of weight over the
Yeah,
years. I mean, the guy's a 5 times world's strongest man, Guinness Book of World Records holder.
yeah,
Even to maybe people more locally familiar, the likes of Ali Thompson, who's fought in pretty much every major MMA promotion ever. These guys have all made adjustments in their training. Give us some specifics on that in your case.
so in bodybuilding, it was more like slow, sort of consistent reps, like time and attention sort of thing. Now you're moving away from the slow sort of reps and building up the fast fiber, like the muscle fibers. So everything's quick movement. Um, my cardio is definitely a lot better. I couldn't walk up a set of stairs without sweating.
I don't believe
um,
that. You were able to
but
make it to the fridge, right? You were able to go get the Mars bars at 2 in the morning.
it was a struggle, but we made it. But, yeah, no, I'm a lot more agile now than I was, say, a year ago, and definitely a hell of a lot lighter.
Did there kind of come a point where like I need to rethink not only what I'm doing in the gym or how I'm approaching mobility? Like you said, I'm sure you would have maybe done some different stretching or some different active type of recovery on your days off. Did you radically change your diet? Give me some more data points on how that goes, because I think it's. I remember a lot of people from MMA will know, like when George St. Pierre went up in weight, like he took a couple of years to make that transition, and had been talked about for many years beyond that. Give me some more, like I said, some data points on how that actually went specifically for you.
So my diet changed rapidly because I was doing something what people call a seafood diet. So seafood, you eat it,
Do you run into the do you go
and
down to the ocean down there on the coast and go swimming for your food and stuff, or
that's it. That's it. But I used to live by the motto, "Eat big to get big," and my metabolism was quite, I'd say it was quite fast. So I was always hungry. So I'd eat about 7 times a day. And obviously, when I was cutting out the calories for this sort of training, I was hungry, and all I wanted to do was eat. So obviously, I wasn't in the gym as much because I train about 2 hours, 2 hours in the evening on the bodybuilding side. So I had to make up that side of training for a 2 hour session in jiu-jitsu. Um, so I was also burning a lot more calories. So the weight was just dropping off. So my body fat percentage just shot down rapidly, which is good. It's nice, but it also messed mentally a little bit because obviously you train so hard to be big and like to look good, say. And obviously you look back at pictures and you think, cool, all that hard work's just gone. But in theory, it's not. But when it comes to the workout side, I had to do a little bit more research because obviously where I was doing bodybuilding for so long, it's totally different sort of movement of exercises. So it's gone from bodybuilding to more CrossFit side. That's the closest I can sort of base it on. Like everything's fast, sort of pace
Yep. Especially
workouts.
as MMA strength and conditioning has
So
made marked improvements in the last handful of years, let alone the last decade. Uh, Certainly, the scientific approach that you've mentioned of really kind of homing in and fine tuning rather, can make a big difference. I'm curious about the mental side though, not just the physical side. Do you take anything from bodybuilding that you can apply to making that walk this weekend?
uh, just the strength that I managed to maintain. Um, I knew dropping all this weight, I'm going to lose some strength, um, but I feel I've kept about 80% of my strength that I think I built up on bodybuilding that I'll be able to use
Do you think
this
strength
weekend.
matters in grappling and in other aspects
Um,
of fighting?
Definitely strength and obviously fitness. Two key points, I think.
I mean, talking about your background in transitioning, why did you actually want to do martial arts? Why wasn't anything else? I mean, I know that you work in motors, for example, doing MOT and garage work and mechanical work, but
Yeah.
why this? What attracted you to it?
So I wanted to do it for quite a few years, but it was only ever just like a thought process in my head, like, oh, maybe one day I'll do that, or I'd love to do that. And it's making that first session at the jiu-jitsu where you then go, okay, I've made that step, now I can enjoy it. But before then, it was, I need to give up bodybuilding, or I need to work between two of them and sort of make it work. But it was, like I say, it was only ever a thought that I come up with in my head that I never took that first step for. And then as soon as I took that first step, it was like, I actually really like
Do you
this.
have a style? How would you describe like your favorite approach? Do you have kind of go-to things you kind of found like that you're effective at doing very early? Because I feel like if you look at someone's development coming into martial arts relatively recently, I believe it was just before the pandemic when you first started. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
How
correct.
have you what have you funneled into now as to what you're going to actually try to implement when you have a competition? What have you found is most effective to help you win?
I'm hoping to come in there with a strong jab, um, just to open up a set of hands. And my ground game is quite strong. Like my strength plays a big part in the ground game, and I feel like I'll be able to use that a lot.
You've got a daughter, you've got a job. Is it ever a struggle to balance
I
this
do,
whole
yeah,
thing, or do you just find it's like a natural fit? Because I think too often, and there's been a theme today in some of the interviews, people overlook a lot of the sacrifices and some of the hardships. Some of those battles have to be won before you even show up to training, to actually get to training, to get to practice.
yeah. So my daughter I see every weekend, so it sort of allows me to get the main part of the training done throughout the week, and then I do maybe the odd sort of conditioning session at the weekend. Um, but fitting it all in, it is a sacrifice. Because when I first started, I was currently with the mother of my daughter, so you're sort of limited to the sessions that you can make, um, but you sort of make it work, sort of adapt to it, I guess.
You strike me as a really relaxed and like super chill guy. Is that kind of a mindset that you bring all the way to that moment, or does things change? I mean, even going from your bodybuilding career or other things you might have done. You mentioned you'd done motocross before, which can be, a little bit more of an adrenaline kind of action fueled type of sport. But
Yeah,
you seem probably of all the fighters we've interviewed the coolest and the calmest.
I'd say I'm quite a relaxed guy. I think it's just a natural thing, really. um, but I guess when you're in the gym and you're training, you bring that out of sort of, or say outer, just the inner guy, like the, the sort of guy that gives you that push, the adrenaline sort of you. I guess that sort of person comes out of
Do
the
you,
gym.
do you have the
So
song
yeah,
come
I'd say
on?
I'm
Does your
quite
song come on at the gym, and is there a big change like those memes?
um, certain music brings it out a
What
lot
is
quicker.
it?
Yeah.
Out of curiosity.
I got so if I'm doing like heavy lifting or like in a conditioning sort of set, I like a bit of Metallica. Yeah, that sort of outside of the gym. I don't listen to that sort of music, but in the gym, 100%,
Amazing, man.
100%.
I've got an ESP KH3 over there in the corner, so I'm a big fan. I saw them, and it's gonna make me sound old as
Yeah,
hell. I saw them in high school for the first time. I think that was definitely a defining moment of my youth. Finally got a car. Parents let me out of the house, and I went to go see Metallica in a major city in Michigan, coming from a small town. That was a feat at 16. I made it back alive, though, so that was much to the relief of mom and dad. Anyways, enough of that, man. Listen, we're stoked to have you on the card. Supreme Championship Saturday night. Wrap it up. Talk about what we can expect to see you. You're fighting another guy who is a tough, I believe, debutant, Christoph, and I'm going to get this exactly right, Prokopchuk.
yep. I'm not personally. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's
What's
the
going to
same
happen,
thing.
though? What can we expect to see? Why should people tune in to watch you, man?
I'm hoping to go in there, be as explosive as I am in my training. I mean, I'm training with some strong guys that of all different levels, quite high levels as well. So I'm hoping what I'm doing in my training will show very well on the fight night. I mean, I don't know a lot on my opponent, being 0-0 in his first fight, I believe. It's kind of a suspense game, so he could be as strong as me, he could be as explosive as me. But I'm hoping to go in there, do the best I can, all being well, take the
Amazing.
win.
Well, good luck to you, sir. We look forward to seeing you, and thanks again for coming on today. Once again, big shout out, Dan Stockley. All right.
Thank
See you,
you.
man.
See you, mate. Take care.